I just put my phone down. It was too much. The longer I stared, the more everything clenched inside. I felt destroyed. This feeling is impossible to put into words. But anyone who has caught their partner cheating will definitely understand what I mean. I felt like a complete idiot for trusting her and suspecting nothing. I couldn't stop thinking about how much I regretted never cheating myself, even though I had the opportunities. I felt like a fool for staying faithful to Lisa when I could have acted differently. It seemed like my loyalty was completely pointless. I know that sounds dumb and doesn't change the fact that she was unfaithful. But I was stuck on it because if I had cheated too, it wouldn't have hurt so much in that moment. All I could think about was my pain. I was willing to do anything just to stop feeling that humiliation. Is it just me who thought that way when they found out about being cheated on? I'm honestly curious. I walked out of the apartment and just went walking, not knowing where I was going. I had never felt emotions like this in my life and had no idea what to do with them. My ego had been completely crushed. I didn't know what to do, and I was too ashamed to tell anyone. My sadness quickly turned into rage. I know I would get revenge, I just didn't know how yet. But I was boiling with anger and wanted her to never recover from this. My roommate, also my best friend and teammate, was sleeping on the couch in the living room at the time. Let's call him Bona. He was from Eastern Europe, a 2-meter-tall giant and about as Russian as a person could be. His real name was so strange that in real life we just called him Bona. So Bona called me after I had been wandering around for a while. I answered, and he asked where I was. I asked him to keep it a secret and told him what happened. He stayed on the line, walked into my room, and I heard him shout in his thick Russian accent, "Hey, bitch! You cheated on him." Then I heard her trying to say something, but Bona kept yelling at her, telling her to get out. There was some noise. Then Bona got back on the phone and said, "She's gone. Come back, let's talk." I went home, and Bona and I talked about what happened. It wasn't a sentimental conversation, because we both saw ourselves as alpha males, and in our cultures, men don't cry. Neither of us knew how to act in a situation like this. Bona tried to support me in his own way and said, "It's your birthday today. We're going to get drunk and find some girls." I had actually forgotten it was my birthday. Bona and I went to get breakfast. I was still kind of drunk, and my phone was blowing up with calls and texts from Lisa. I told her that I had seen everything on her phone and didn't want to speak to or see her. She started begging to come to my birthday, but I made it clear I didn't want her there. Obviously, what Bona had told me earlier was true. Her whole reputation and popularity depended on being my girlfriend. I think most people didn't even like her much, but tolerated her because we were dating. She realized that if I acted like a single guy at the party and she didn't show up, everyone would immediately know something had happened. I think Lisa was more afraid of being publicly humiliated than of losing our relationship. I don't remember much of that night because I lost myself in the sweet numbness. All I remember is sitting in a chair before the party with 2 girls on the armrests. I still have a picture from that moment, and I remember it well. We were about to head out. I had booked several tables at one of the popular nightclubs downtown. Alcohol and substances were the only things making me feel okay. I had dark sunglasses on and a drunk, overloaded smile on my face. If you stare long enough at that photo, you can see that behind that smile there's an overwhelming amount of pain. Sitting in that chair, I started feeling the full effect of the cocktail. It was the first time it wasn't about having fun, it was about feeling better, feeling normal. I remember thinking, I want to feel this way for the rest of my life. I will never allow myself to suffer again while I have substances. I'm in control, and no one can ever hurt me again. How ironic that sounds now. Years later, I told my friends and teammates that Lisa and I had broken up. When they asked why she wasn't at the party, I didn't tell them the truth, but I also didn't show that it bothered me. I just played the cool guy role and shifted everyone's attention to the party itself. This is one of those revenge Stories where everything was half-planned. I know I wanted revenge on Lisa for the pain she caused me, but mostly, I just improvised when the opportunity rose. That night in that chair, the person I used to be, the kind person, died. All my principles flew out the window. I had never cheated in a relationship, so I naively believed no one would cheat on me either. Now I understand how stupid that was, but at the time, I really thought that way. I didn't care about any possible consequences. The only thing that mattered was causing Lisa as much pain as possible. So, I kept living with this new selfish mindset. A week later, I was on my computer, scrolling Facebook, and I came across the profile of one of her teammates from the track team. That's when I had my first revenge idea. I decided to try sleeping with her friends. I had no proof that Lisa slept with my teammates, but she clearly tried to hide her conversations with them. So I thought I'd see how many girls close to her I could hook up with. Honestly, I had more options than she did. The women's track team had way more members than the men's basketball team, and they looked way better too. The first girl I found on Facebook had a boyfriend, but I thought, everyone cheats, right? Let's find out. I started the usual social media flirting, liked a few photos, she liked mine back. Then I messaged her, and boom, a couple days later, she was in my bed. About a week later, I pulled the same move with other girls from Liz's 4x4 relay team. Ironically, 2 of the 3 girls I slept with were also in relationships and cheated on their boyfriends with me. It gave me mixed feelings. On the one hand, it stroked my bruised ego. On the other hand, it made me even angrier and more disillusioned. I started thinking, women are sluts. None of them are faithful. It was one of those stories where, fighting evil, I became evil myself. This basically became my strategy, because in my twisted mindset, it gave me 2 outcomes. First, I exposed cheaters. Second, if they were willing to cheat on their boyfriends, they'd keep quiet so no one would find out, which meant that when the truth came out, the drama would be even more epic. And most importantly, it made me feel better after Liz's betrayal, because it proved that it wasn't about me. It was about women in general. I know that's complete bullshit, but back then, I genuinely believed it.